Do you hear that, everybody? It's the calm before the storm. Welcome to the Ripple Effect Podcast this week. My name is Daniel. We've got Brian Sevitz in the studio and Dawn Beaverson with us here today. And it is Tuesday, the Tuesday before Drive Through Bethlehem. And it is quiet here. But it is definitely the calm before the storm. And we're going to get into all of that this week on this week's episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. We're glad that you've joined us, whether you're watching this online or whether you're listening to this. We're so glad that you were here. And before we get into all of that coming up this week, we want to give a big shout out and thanks to our sponsor of the week, and that is Leftover Pumpkin Pie. If you have indulged yourself, I was telling Dawn, I don't really love pumpkin pie, but when there's leftover pie, you eat the leftover pie. Have you guys indulged in some leftovers this week?
I've had ham every meal since Thanksgiving, yes.
The leftovers I had was chili.
Oh!
My mom's was like the night, Thanksgiving night, and instead of having like another Thanksgiving meal, it was like soup supper, basically.
Chili night.
So,
That's nice reprieve after eating, or before, what you said, Thanksgiving night?
Yeah.
After eating a big meal, have a nice
and chili is better the next day anyway, to me.
Yeah, all that, the seasoning and everything. Well, we hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, and we hope you're enjoying your leftovers. Let's get into reviewing Sunday and how Sunday went for everybody. Dawn, how was your Sunday? Did you do anything special this Sunday? Were you teaching? What were you doing?
I was on praise team this week.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
And then, that's always fun. I enjoy doing that. And then we hauled out some stuff out of the sheds. Found a dead raccoon.
Ooh,
Sunday,
tell everybody about the dead raccoons.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty
I don't know
stinky.
if they want to hear about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to bother me. I'm going to keep eating. So, Was it alive?
No. It had been dead a while, so...
Let's just say we found everything to do with the raccoon. Its carcass,
everything that came out of the raccoon.
Exactly.
There's a lot of poop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had gone into that. We have the shed where all the Drive Through Bethlehem stuff is. I'd gone in there looking for a soldier costume for our Halloween trunk or treat, and I immediately was like, something is dead in here.
Well, Dawn was actually the one. She's like, "Oh, my gloves already have it all over it anyway." She literally picked up the raccoon by its tail and hauled it outside.
I did a lot of laundry that night. I smelled bad.
That's when you just burn the clothes. Well, that's good. That's busy. That's good. That's did you wake up early for praise team practice? Did you have to practice early, or did you guys already?
I'd be there at 7.
Oh. That's really good. Brian, what about you? How was your Sunday?
I thought it went really well, especially with the 7 o'clock practice. But
how'd you
people
feel?
showed up for the pulling out of the shed, several people, and didn't really take that long to do all that, get it prepped for the construction.
Yeah, that's good. How'd you feel about the preacher interrupting you during first hour?
I forgot about that.
And really, throwing off your flow of service and being a jerk and coming up on stage when he's not supposed to be.
Well, I did see how it was kind of my fault after he showed me what I had put in the computer. So.
Well, I should have just asked you beforehand.
Yeah.
So I had, for those of you who didn't see, if during first hour, depending on what service, sometimes you can go back and watch both services if you want to watch first hour, second hour. And someone was joining a family, Mark and Debbie Strayed were joining the church that day, placing their membership, and I had looked at the schedule and it said there was a little gap in between the last two songs, and so I started to go up, but then the band kept playing, and I was like, oh no, I'm already too far. I've already committed this.
It was fine.
It was good.
I have a history of doing that. If you ask David Fincher, were you there in the men's banquet when I got up at the wrong time to announce my brother?
Oh, yeah.
So,
I didn't know whose fault that was.
Oh, it was totally mine.
Oh.
The boys had just been born. The twins were just born. We were at the hospital again because something had happened. Macy was sick, I think. And I hadn't slept very much. I was just kind of out of it. And I walk up on stage just to announce my brother. And it was totally the wrong time. But what are you going to do? Thank you for your graciousness, because that was great. This past Sunday, we talked about justice and how God is justice. He is the standard for what is good and right. And and all the things that happen when we don't see him as the standard of what is good and right. So if you have missed that sermon, missed that Sunday, we'd encourage you to go back to tlcc.church and just watch the service, get you caught up on what was said, the sermon series, but also all the other blunders that happened that Sunday. No, there weren't many. It was good. It was the internet didn't go out. Everything was smooth. So.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We've got a couple of announcements to let you know about coming up. Brian, what do we need to let everybody know about?
All right. So number one was something we've been talking about with the Coyote Hill supporting foster families at Christmas. And we'll put the link to our Amazon wish list. There were still like 10 items on there.
Almost all bought, which was great. Thank you all for doing that. But yeah, about 10 more left.
Yeah, and we really need to get them ordered like today because we need them here in time. And so go to we'll put the link in the notes as well as post it separately on Facebook and send it out in the email today. So hopefully we get those 10 items taken care of.
Yeah.
And you just choose to have it delivered. The address is stored in there, but you have to pick the address for Ann Manier or Debbie, right? Debbie Weiber.
Debbie Weiber.
And it's stored with the wish list, but you have to choose that instead of your own.
Yeah.
If you get it shipped to your house, you're going to have to bring it to us. So.
Yeah. That's great.
That's the first one.
And thank you to so many of you who've already purchased stuff. We're so grateful. It's going to be a great thing to help these foster families and the kids have an awesome Christmas.
Yeah. So I'll go a little bit out of order because we're going to talk about Drive Through Bethlehem here in a second. So the Megatree lighting is a week from tomorrow. So December 6th, and we're going to have Tinley's here again. The first 300 people get hot chocolate or coffee if you want it. And we hope it's not extremely cold that day, but we have the hot drinks. If it's a little chilly, we can be out there, do the little countdown. The tree lighting is at 5:30 on that Wednesday before church classes and stuff that night.
Yeah.
And then it'll be on every night then through Christmas. I usually play it through at least the day after Christmas. And it's till 9 every night. So 5:30 to 9 p.m. But the tree lighting a week from tomorrow, if you want to come out, even if you don't normally come to Wednesday night classes, you can come out at 5:30 if you want and enjoy that.
And that'll be the last Wednesday night before Christmas break. So we'll take a Christmas break after that, and we're off for a couple weeks to enjoy the holidays and to get a little break for our volunteers as well. So
then we just want to talk about Drive Through Bethlehem.
Here it is.
Yesterday we were here. I mean, I had people here. Well, we didn't come out at daybreak because it's getting cold. We started in about 10 and left when it was getting dark. But all the major scenes were put up. All those guys that showed up, I'm so grateful because having it all done in one day is awesome. We just have little stuff to prep. But Drive Through Bethlehem is this Saturday and Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m., and we wanted to talk about a couple things for the volunteers and then attendees as well, I guess. One of them is, if you're a volunteer, you need to let us know, especially if you're wanting your kids in childcare, because we're trying to make sure we have enough childcare.
Yeah, don't be dropping your kids off without telling us ahead of time.
Yeah.
You already know if you need childcare, right? You already know I probably will need it. So just let us know so we can have enough people in there. We don't want to be overrun. You know how it is. So just call the office or message us and let us know, hey, I think my kids are going to be in there. We'd rather you just say that so we can plan for it and be ready.
Yep. And the supper, if you're going to eat at the church, we would love it if you. Everybody should have received an email. So if you are a participant in Drive Through Bethlehem, not necessarily if you baking cookies or one of these kind of supplemental things, which your jobs are very important, but I asked for people who are going to be here on those 2 nights to reply and tell me, are you eating here? Because we want to make sure we have enough food. We have people prepping that and bringing in supplies and all that stuff. So we want to honor them by giving them a good number and not stressing them out with how many people are going to be eating.
Yep.
So those are for the volunteers. And then when you come to volunteer for Drive Through Bethlehem, you have to park across the street. We usually have some people shuttling. If you don't want to walk, you can hop in a golf cart and come on over. But we ask you to be here by 5. They start serving food about 4:45, which is a little bit of an early supper, I know, but that's kind of what we have to do for drive-through. And
I love early suppers because then you can have a late night snack. You know what I'm saying? So you get to 4:45 meal, and then you can have a late night snack.
They usually do
around
keep out
8
some
o'clock.
snacks like all night. So if you come back inside and need a
They're
little
planning
cookie or something,
there.
it's,
I get 2 suppers that way. That's I really appreciate that.
so drive-through will be happening. And so just to let you know, the parking lot on those 2 days will be mostly shut down. Starting
You can't-
mid-morning,
can't park around
definitely in the afternoon. You'll have to park out across the street at the high school, or if you're just here for a few minutes, you can usually find a place to drop off something and then leave. But yeah, we're excited about it. We have a Facebook post that's an ad that's running starting today. Share that. Let people know. If you still would like some invites, Sunday we passed out business card size invites as well as bigger posters, and there's still some out there. And if you would love to walk in the parade, or we don't want to beg people, but we still need some people to walk in the parade.
And that's a low commitment thing.
Yeah.
You just got to be willing to walk at a pace of about 1.5 to 2 miles an hour, and walk behind a van and hand out some cards and just wave at people, and it's a good experience.
3:00 on Saturdays the parade, so you would need to show up about 2:30.
2:30.
It's usually done by 3:30. It's not a huge parade, so
No, it's not.
low commitment. And maybe you can't be a part of the regular Drive Through Bethlehem program, but you could help us advertise it in that way. We would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, so those were all the announcements, and I think we just really wanted to give a shout out to everybody who's, of course, Dawn helps with costumes, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes who, I even have a prayer team that I have sent specific prayer requests to those people, and they're praying for everything from safety, putting together all the scenes and stuff, to prayers that the event is effective when it happens. And yesterday, like I say, we had a good crew of people come, and some of those people are retired, but some of them weren't out doing their jobs, their day jobs, to be here to help us with drive-through. And I really appreciate that, because there have been times that it's kind of us in the office here doing a lot of this stuff, because you need to do it during the day. Everybody's at work. A lot of the people are at work that would normally help, and it's just the way it is. But we had some good help yesterday.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that. And, drive-through is an opportunity to remind people of how amazing the story of Christ's birth is and the impact that it has on us. And that's the biggest thing that we're doing. In the midst of all of the costumes and meals and stage prep and all of these sets that go into Drive Through Bethlehem, the purpose of it is that we can be reminded of how amazing this story is, that God would come to earth, that he would come and to earth so that we might know what his love and grace and mercy is, and so that we could experience him in the way that he desires us to experience him through Jesus. And it just tells the story. That's what Drive Through Bethlehem is. It tells the story of the prophecies, of why it matters, and how it impacts our life. And so we can't lose sight of that. If you're out in the cold or if you're behind the scenes, the reason we're doing this is because the story of Jesus changes lives. And it reminds us of these deep truths that affect us every single day. I asked Dawn to join us today because you've been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work. You love getting up from behind the desk and going and doing stuff. What's been your favorite thing this year? What's been the thing that's been a little bit more stressful this year than other years? Because you've done this for a little while.
You mean Drive Through Bethlehem?
Yeah, Drive Through Bethlehem related. What's been the best thing so far? Some of the stressful things so far?
I think I've just kind of taken things for granted this year because I just assumed all the costumes. It's been really smooth this year. Yeah. Having said that, eventually we're going to have to start, not counting on the costumes all looking great, because some of them are showing.
Are they getting a little older?
Yeah, they've been washed and dried a few times now. We're losing some pieces and some beads. So next time will be a little trickier. But it's really been pretty smooth. We ordered some really cool angel wings this time.
Excited about the angel wings.
Yeah, you'll have to come see them.
What's been a little stressful part?
The raccoon.
Well, maybe. I don't know. It hasn't
really
been
been that
too
bad?
stressful. No, I mean, I guess
I have a question for you. When's the last time you drove through Bethlehem?
I don't know that I've ever driven through. Oh no, the very first year.
Okay.
The very first year I did. I went and picked up my mom and dad, took them through.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, I've been in it. So.
All right, we might have to get you a car this year, and you can just hop in that vehicle and drive through.
So I had one person this year say, I'm going to take a year off, or at least one of the days off, but I don't think they're serving at all. Because I just want to drive through it one time.
Yeah.
Somebody that's never gotten to do that. And of course, a lot of our people just love serving, but the only time they've ever seen it is on the video that we
Right.
post when it's over.
I think
Can you walk through it? I'd kind of like to just walk.
no, because you got to hear the
that's true.
narration. So
Yeah,
I
you're
think it was the last time we did it 2 years ago. Macy had pulled around one night. And we were doing our stuff, but then when she got up close, I hopped in the van because I'm like, I want to know what this is like because it's hard to, one, evaluate stuff if you haven't experienced it, and then two, I just wanted to enjoy it, and it's really cool. It's from the other side of it when you're just experiencing it. It's really cool. So maybe we'll get you a car to hop in, a chariot maybe. I don't know.
There you go.
Every year, I drive through it once with a camera,
Yeah.
and then we usually post that. This
Yeah.
year I may not because there's someone that volunteered to
Are we
do
doing
a
the drone? Yes.
And
that'd
maybe
be nice.
we'll post the drone
Just
footage.
watch that.
Maybe they'll bring the drone down low and
Yeah.
kind of act like they're.
Yeah.
It'll be way less bumpy than the golf cart.
Yeah, as you're going through it. Well, we hope that if you are not participating in volunteering for Drive Through Bethlehem, that you just experience it. Maybe some of you spent many years serving it, and this is a great year just to experience it, and that's great. And for those of you who are volunteering, we want to say thank you so much, and we hope that it'll be encouraging for you to participate in the team that are going to be putting this on. And we want to give a special thanks to Brian because he has a lot of moving parts that he has championed, and he's kind of leading this, not kind of. Is leading
the
this,
leader,
so
yeah.
we're grateful for you and your family for the work that you put in. I'm going to give you a thought of the day, a blessing of the week for you to go out on. And I was thinking this week about how many, especially during this time of year, how many needs there are and requests for finances. Especially around the holidays, it seems like everybody is requesting end of the year giving and requesting donations, and there's so many good ministries and nonprofits that you could support. And I was just thinking about that, and I wanted to give you this verse out of 2 Corinthians chapter 9. Paul is writing, and he's talking to a group of people who were supporting him and giving of their money. And he said, the point is this. He's talking about giving. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. Whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Each person must give as he has decided in his heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, because God truly loves a cheerful giver. And I oftentimes, growing up in the church, you can feel a lot of guilt, like, oh, I know I'm supposed to be giving, or I know I need to give, or I know I'm supposed to be helping other people. We should feel a burden and responsibility to help other people with what God has blessed us with. But it also should be a cheerful thing. Mm-hmm. I think about this Amazon wish list with foster kids. Like I want my family, we want to do it together cheerfully and with joy because we get to help somebody else. Mm-hmm. So if you are, especially during this time, feeling like a who is the grumpy duck that didn't want to give his money? Scrooge McDuck.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I have young children, so everything's animated. Scrooge. If you're feeling kind of grumpy like a Scrooge, like, here we go again, people asking for money, or here we go again, organizations asking, then don't give. God would rather you not give if you're going to do it from a place of a begrudging bitterness. Instead, he says, if you want to reap or receive amazing gifts and receive an abundance from God, then have the mentality that I'm going to give with an abundance. We have to decide in our own heart what we want to do because we're convicted, not because we feel like we have to. And the result of giving with a cheerful heart is in verse 8. God is able to make all grace abound to you. Not you're going to get more money. All grace, that you will see that he is the one that provides, so that having all sufficiency in all things at all time, you might abound in every good work. And that's what God desires for us. He's the one that supplies our needs. And so we can give freely and with joy to those around us. So this season, especially where there's lots of needs and you feel the urge to help other people, let's do it with a joyful heart, because that's what God desires. And in doing so, we're reminded of the grace that God gives us each and every day. So there you go, the blessing of the week. And we hope that you have a wonderful week and that you join us this weekend for Drive Through Bethlehem. Anybody have anything they want to finally say at the end here? That's it.
See you this weekend.
All right. God bless you guys. See you next week on the next episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast.